I know you've all been through the orientation, and I want to add my welcome to the welcome you've already received. Glad you're here at the Mediation Center and doing this. I want you to know that I'm a volunteer here. I'm impartial. I'm not familiar with any of you people. The proceedings here will be confidential. If I take some notes from time to time, it's to help me, but the notes will be destroyed after this is all over. I won't be judgmental. I won't give you the answers. So I'm depending on the three of you to find the solutions to the situation. I do want to add a couple points of emphasis to the ground rules. We want very much to make this a safe, comfortable environment, and we want to be civil and courteous to each other. We want to be open and candid. So with that start, a little bit about the process. I will want to talk with each of you individually here together and get a feel for what the disputes or difficulties are. And while I'm talking with one of you, I want it to be, for example, between you and me, and you two please listen quietly, and in time I'll get around to you two, and at that time the others will show you the same courtesy. So with that beginning, we'll start with you, Harvey. This is mostly about you and your well-being. So tell me what you think about what's going on, what's happening.
Well, it's real easy. I don't understand why we're spending the hour or two here this afternoon. I mean, I don't know what the issues are. Everything seems to be fine. My wife passed away a couple of years ago. I live in the home that we've lived in for 50 years. These girls grew up in that home. I drive, I get to the grocery store, I have breakfast with my friends, pretty independent, so I don't understand why we're here and what the issues are.
Well, we're here because your two daughters who love you very much are concerned about your well-being. And but are you telling me that you don't know what the matters of that concern are?
I don't really understand. I really don't understand.
Okay. Then why don't we continue these one-on-one conversations with Carrie? Because Carrie was the one who brought this matter to everyone's attention and has involved the Mediation Center. So, and maybe through that you will get a better idea of the nature of the concerns.
Well, I'm open to listening.
That's fine. That's a good start. Thank you. Okay, Carrie.
Well, I am very concerned, and actually, Dad, for you to say that you are clueless about this is not a fact. Yeah. We have had some discussions.
And please direct this to me. He will be listening.
There are a couple of areas of concern, incidents that have occurred recently. One was Dad ran a stop sign in the car, and fortunately no one was injured, but he did receive a citation. I check on Dad nearly every day, and when I look in the refrigerator, there are expired foods in there. There are moldy foods.
Carrie, just a second.
Are you telling about nutrition?
Are you telling me that you never have expired foods in your refrigerator or something?
I am concerned about your nutrition.
Let's hold that after I've talked to each of you. Then we'll all talk together and see if we can find answers to some of these questions. Go ahead, please.
I pay Dad's bills. Numerous pieces of mail are getting lost or misplaced, and I've had to do follow-up on that. And it's very time-consuming in addition to what I already do. And most seriously, the other day, Dad left a burner on, and fortunately a neighbor stopped over, and I don't know how long it was on, but if it had been on all day, it could have provoked a very dangerous situation. And I just think it's time to...
What danger what are you imagining is might have happened?
Something left on, perhaps him touching it and not realizing it was hot. Certainly is not a good thing that he is forgetting to turn the burners off, and I just think that he needs more help than I am able to give him, certainly than Patty is able to give him. And I think we just need to think about some type of help, perhaps in terms of assisted living and whether it's a good idea for you to remain in the house.
Great. So now what you're suggesting is get me out of the house and get me locked up in a nursing home. Oh, excuse me, assisted living. And now I'm not in the house that I've lived in all my life.
She just suggested that was an idea, and
It sounds like a great idea, really, for the two of them, maybe.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
Now, Dad, you know that we want what is best for you, and we know that we know you want to stay in the house.
No, you want what's best for you. That's all you want. I don't think you really
How
care
can
about
you
what's
say
best
that?
for him.
Please, just if you can, we will get to you in a minute. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I certainly don't have the time to care for Dad in the way he needs to be cared for, and you certainly don't, Patty, because you're there even less than me, and so you don't really understand what's going on.
Okay.
We need to make a decision
All right.
about
We'll see what
Dad's
we can
welfare.
find. Okay. And Patty, please. And thank you. You did well with courtesy. You're doing good.
Well, I only get to see Dad maybe once a month. Sometimes a little more than that if I have more time, because I live further away and I work full time and I have a family. And Carrie's called me several times with concerns about Dad and talked about assisted living. And actually what she says really scares me. I mean, I think she blows it way out of proportion. You know, the thing with the burner, for example, maybe Dad was cooking something and Joe rang the bell and he went to talk, went to the door and forgot completely about cooking. I don't know. It could have been something as simple as that. And let's face it, all of us misplace a mail from time to time. I just think that these issues are blown out of proportion.
Well, and you would say that because you aren't the one dealing with them.
I am talking right now. I understand, I agree that the issue with the medication is a concern, that he's not getting his medication every day. And he has done some things that I think that kind of raise my eyebrows, like going through the stoplight. Dad, you've been down that road so many times.
You know what? Have either of you ever missed a stop sign?
No.
Oh, gee, I wonder, you've never happened to you?
No.
Oh, come on. Let's get realistic.
But I think that Carrie's just burned out and she wants to dump it on somebody else, so she thinks assisted living is the best idea.
I think that's very unfair, Patty. That's a very unfair accusation. We both love Dad a lot. We want what's best for him. But staying in that house as is not what's best for him. And I cannot keep up with it, nor can you.
We grew up in that house, Carrie. That's our home, too. He and Mom bought that house just after being married.
And this is what it's about, your attachment to the house and your need, not Dad's.
We're moving into maybe a little prematurely general conversation. But do you have anything specific that you'd like to add before we just open it up for all of us to talk about it?
All I want to say is that I think Dad should stay in the house. That's all I want to say.
I sort of feel like, Carrie says what Dad wants, Patty says what Dad wants, and Dad's kind of sitting here. I might as well just walk out the door and stand outside, and the two of you can just talk about Dad.
Let's open it up. What do you want?
I want to stay in the house.
You want to stay in the house?
I'm capable of being in the house. I'm comfortable there. We've had it in the family for a long time. And yes, occasionally some things happen, but I would suggest they can happen to anybody, not just me at my age. And I want to stay in the house. I don't want to be put away in some facility so it's convenient for my daughters.
Okay,
Well, Dad, that's not what we're doing, and that's not really
That's what it
fair
sounds
to say.
like.
Well, okay. So he wants to stay in the house. We have that on the table. Is there a way for him to stay in the house and mitigate some of these things that concern you so much?
Maybe we could get a caregiver, somebody to come in and spend time with Dad during the day and take care of those basic things like the cooking and the driving. And
Patty, you know Dad would never agree to a caretaker.
Well, I got a suggestion. Why don't you ask Dad?
Well, Dad,
Well, I don't know. It certainly have to be somebody that I like and am comfortable with. I don't need another babysitter. Sometimes, Carrie, I kind of feel like you're a babysitter coming every day and making sure that I'm clean and the food is going to. But maybe somebody could check a little bit. In fact, maybe it would be even refreshing to have somebody different coming in occasionally.
She's a control freak, and that's why she wants him in assisted living.
That is not true, Patty. You have no idea what it is like on a day-to-day basis. I want what's best for Dad. I love Dad as much as you do. And I don't want this to happen either. But we have to be concerned about what's best for him. And
What do
what's
you
safe
think of
for
a
him.
caregiver then coming in? If it's someone he likes and someone who can drive, what would you think of that?
Well, that's a possibility.
I'll tell you what, if you're willing to, I will go out and look at some agencies that provide that kind of service and look into some possible funding sources. I mean, that is an issue. We have to realize that. You realize that. How are we going to pay for it? And see what we can discover. See if we can come up with a solution to
Well-
his needs.
I don't think Dad will ever accept that.
Dad, would you accept that?
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for speaking for me. I don't know, but I'd be willing to consider it, at least to see if there's somebody that I was comfortable with. So don't say I would never consider it. Ask me, and I think I might
Well-
consider it. I want to stay in the house, so I want to. I want to stay in the house. I don't think the two of you should be deciding that I can't stay in the house. I don't agree with that.
Well, we know that you don't agree with it.
So how might the caregiver, some number of days a week, mitigate some of the other concerns that you've brought up?
How many days a week do you think they'd need someone to come in there? You know better than I do. I'm not there.
Well, at least 2 to 3 days, because I am stopping nearly every day.
Okay.
And there's a lot that has to be done, and it increases as time goes on.
Maybe, Dad, maybe we could sit down and come up with a list of things that you would want in this person. For example, whether or not you want it to be a male or female, or have specific interests, or,
Well, I'd be willing to consider that.
Okay.
I mean, I want to be independent. I want to do some things myself. I want the car in the garage. It's my car. I'm comfortable driving it. I just renewed my license. It wasn't a problem. Yeah, I ran the stop. I understand. I went through the stop sign. Nobody got hurt. That happens. I'll bet everybody does that. Occasionally, hopefully, nobody gets hurt. But I'd be willing to see if there's some things that a person could help me with. I'd be open to discussing that. But it's got to be somebody that I really am comfortable with. I don't want some Attila the Hun coming in here and telling me what I can do and can't do.
Would you be amenable to that? Would you appreciate the relief from your almost daily trips?
Well, something has to be done. We have to try something. So if we want to try that as the first idea, that I would agree with that.
Would you be willing to let this companion drive you on some of your errands so they wouldn't worry so much about?
Oh, it's certainly possible. I want him driving my car, and maybe occasionally I want to drive it, and maybe that person rides with me. But I want to keep my car. I want my car in my garage. I want the keys on the table so I know it's there if I want it. Or
How does that sound?
I suppose we could try that.
Dad, I don't think they need to spend the night. Do you need someone who's going to actually be
I
sleeping
don't
in the
think
house?
so. I can get up and go to the bathroom myself. It's not an issue. I don't fall down. I don't think anybody has to sleep there. In fact, I'd rather they didn't, to tell you the truth.
Is this a beginning of a plan? Is this an idea that you people would like to try to proceed down that path and see where it goes? See if you can make it work.
I think so.
Yes. Yes, I would be willing to do that.
Well, I think you have a starting point. You can work together, find an agency that could provide some people, assuming the
I'll do that.
finance is right. Then why don't you go rest a little bit, take a break. I will start writing this down in forms of an agreement that we've reached here today. And we'll come back, look at it, see if you all think it looks all right or want to add anything, and move on from there.
Okay?
Okay?
Be okay with
Okay.
me.
All right.
That was good. All right.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you all feel really, really good about this agreement we've reached here today. And I want to assure you that if, because this is a work in process, you need to come back, want to come back at any time to review, to talk about, to meet again about how we might tweak it, we will be glad to have you back. So good luck, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.